us stuck from moving forward into change. For over a decade, she has coached hundreds of people, helping them turn their lives from misery to happiness through one-on-one coaching, seminars, and videos. But she doesn't just talk the talk, she too once walked the walk. After decades of self-defeating behavior, she found the power within to awaken to spiritual truths, leading her to powerful life lessons. Because she struggled in her own life and learned some tricks and tools to manage her emotions and create a joyous life, she now can share these truths with others living their lives in pain and numbness who don't realize that love and happiness are within reach. She hopes to help them get unstuck and unshackled so they can find contentment and fulfillment. So take it away, Melanie.
Thank you. Oh, thanks so much, Roseanne. It is so awesome to be here. I'm going to take some questions and answers at the end, but if you're able to mute right now, that'll help for the recording. So those that aren't here are able to listen to it later. So thanks again. It's so awesome to see you guys. I have so much great information I want to share with you. And the best thing that you guys can do to get the most out of this is to have a piece of paper and pen. And I see that some of you do. You guys are awesome. Because it actually helps our brain get more focused and engaged when we actually pick up a pen and write things down. And so, you know, today we're going to focus on escape the scarcity mindset and create abundance. So I thought the toilet paper was funny because we've been through this pandemic and it's just been one of those things where that is the epitome of what scarcity mindset is to go to the grocery store and get as much toilet paper as you possibly can and hoard it. And then no one else has any toilet paper. And then there's just this, this need to hoard things. And that's kind of what scarcity does. It keeps us in fear and it keeps us stuck. And so that is the main thing we're going to be talking about today. So, and the hope that we can actually create abundance because we all have agency. So we want to acknowledge that there's two choices, and you know, fear and faith come to mind, but scarcity and abundance come to mind because they're opposites, you know? And so today that's what we're focusing on, how to create abundance in your life today, right now, during this class. And my story of becoming a coach was just that I was under a lot of overwhelm. My work was extremely busy, and becoming a mother kind of put me over the top of trying to juggle too many things. And then on top of that, I was having relationship problems in my marriage. And I started going to therapy, and I was trying all these different things to like fix me, right? So I could deal with my life. And that's when I found a coach. And this coach taught me these tools, applicable tools, and tangible results started happening in my life. And you know, I absolutely love coaching. I love mentoring people and helping them. And I have a little story I wanted to share with you. And if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you the little token. But you know, growing up as a ballerina, I had lots of body image crisis, right? Because as a ballerina, you're told, you know, you're never enough. You're not skinny enough. And that is a scarcity mindset because it's not enough. And so what started happening is I had this fear that I wasn't good enough. So it wasn't even about weight anymore, because they would say, oh, you have the talent, but you just don't have the body to be a professional ballerina. And so that was my dream. And I loved ballet, and it set this kind of foundation for scarcity in my life. And as I kept coming, as I grew into adulthood, I'm I have a very curvy body. You know, I like using maybe even the word voluptuous, right? So I have a lot of curves in my body, and that is like the exact opposite of ballerinas, right? And I'm going to talk about paradigms a little bit later, but it's interesting because even in the ballet world, paradigm shifts have happened. And, you know, there is, you know, the first African-American curvy ballerina made New York City Ballet as a prima ballerina recently. So there's things like that help open our mindset that anything's possible, even when people tell you it's not. And so through my life, I've struggled with body image, and I've been up and down on the scale. And until I found these tools with coaching, things changed a lot, because what would happen is I would think I was doing okay, or I thought I accepted myself, and I would practice, you know, self-love. And I remember this one time I was swimming. So I had this gym, would go swimming, and every once in a while I would look in the mirror and I wouldn't like what I saw. And I would start critiquing it and noticing, you know, dimples and just really tearing myself apart, right? And it could be so quick. It could be such a quick little, you know, self-talk that if you're not aware of it, you don't even know you're doing it, right? And so I caught myself, and I did this tool, and I'm going to tell you guys at the end what the tool was, right? So I used this tool as I was standing in the mirror, and basically the bottom line was I changed my mindset. And then I'll just never forget, because I had these real negative thoughts about myself. But then when I walked out in my bathing suit to go to do my laps in the pool, I had this girlfriend of mine come up to me and just go on and tell me how great I looked, and that she wished she could, you know, wear a swimsuit like that. And I realized right then, it was not how much I weigh. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't the suit. It wasn't the color. It wasn't that I lost weight. It had nothing to do with that. She saw my mindset. She saw that I was confident and okay with myself. And to me, that was this tool working for me in a way that was tangible, that here I was just critiquing myself, and I took the moment to use the tool and walked out there, and it was so noticeable. She had to say something. And I believe in mindset, and I believe in tools that are simple and easy that we can teach our kids, because man, I don't know about you, but kids are struggling, you know, and even with the pandemic and not having the interaction with their peers, we're all a little shaky on our identity and our value. And I've just noticed, you know, I've worked in a hospital for 20 years, and I've noticed in the emergency department in the last 5 in particular, that teens are coming into the emergency room for suicide attempts. Teens are coming into the emergency department for depression. They're, you know, they're calling out. They want help. And you know, I wasn't taught this stuff in school, and so, you know, it kind of falls on us as parents and the next generation, helping this next generation come to understand what it's like to problem solve and to deal with our thoughts and our emotions, so that we can get the results that we're really looking for. So I can't wait for you guys to stay to the end so I can tell you this tool. And then what makes this different is that I have years of experience of EFT and helping people get through addiction and PTSD and anxiety. And I'm sure none of you experience any of those things, especially when you're going up to ask somebody to come over for a party or to buy something from you, right? So a lot of these principles have to do with things that we can use in everyday life, no matter what's going on. And so I discovered this the hard way, because I was in a lot of pain in my relationship. And so I decided I wanted to do something different. And the main thing that I do is I teach people how to train their brain to look for evidence of abundance, and to notice and acknowledge scarcity, because we have to know both sides. You know, it's like the law of opposition says all things work together for our good, but there's two sides always. And so, you know, for me, scarcity is, scarcity, I feel stuck. When I'm in scarcity, I'm feeling I'm stuck. It comes from a place of lack. When others acquire something, like let's say, like I know Roseanne, you know, that she has had a lot of success in her business. And sometimes we look at someone that's farther ahead of us and we think, well, she, you know, I can't do what she's done, or there's not enough for me because she's already accomplished it. And so we end up coming into this mindset where we're believing everything needed, or everything that's required is running out. And so we're worried that we can't get what someone else has because they already got it. And so what we want to do is shift the paradigm, because to me, abundance is what God created us for, you know, and abundance is a flow. And when I think of things that flow, like you guys tell me in the comments, what are some things that flow? Can you think of some things that flow? Like water comes to mind is something, yeah, awesome. So, you know, like air is always moving. You know, there's these things that are always moving that, you know, God gave us, and and I even believe that choice is a flow, and it's a form of abundance. So what we're going to kind of uncover today is how to shift the way we look at things. That's right. Even electricity is moving. And when I think of computers, they're moving. Our breath, I love that one. Absolutely. And so blood, absolutely. Circulation is always moving. Awesome. So when we think of flow, it's the opposite of being stuck, right? And so what we want to do is look towards how we can create a way to open the door to abundance. So shifting the paradigm. A paradigm is a pattern that keeps occurring in your life. It's the lens through which you see the world. So if you don't create the life you want, you'll be consumed by opinions and feedback of others, and they'll be the ones choosing for you. So what we want to do today is really make a choice about designing our life, being the creator of abundance in our lives. And here's some indicators that you could have a scarcity mindset. And this isn't to like make anyone feel bad. These are things that still come up for me, that even though I'm aware of it, these are things that come up for me. And the biggest tool is awareness. Like awareness is the first step. Like being aware that that's a scarcity mindset. Like even this morning, I woke up and I you know, I get up at 5, and and there's a couple days a week that I could sleep in a little bit longer. Like maybe I could sleep into like 6. And this morning was one of those mornings I'm like, well, maybe I could just take one more hour. And I was thinking, is this scarcity mindset or is this an abundant mindset? Because it was kind of like the way I felt about it. And please, women, I know that we work really hard. And if you need to take a nap or you need to rest, this analogy might not be the right thing. Don't take it literally. What I'm gonna tell you is that what was happening for me is I was trying to hoard my sleep. It was like it was like this mindset of like, I don't have enough, I don't get enough, I need to like, there's no time to take a nap later. It was kind of just like, it was like the fear of not getting sleep is the scarcity mindset. And so, catching ourselves even with money, oh, I can't afford that, or you'd rather save your money. So saving money is a good thing, right? But to everything, there's going to be an opposite, right? And so I just want to open our minds today to just be open and willing to hear some information and just let it settle. Because if some of these things I say that you're like, hey, I don't agree with that, that's okay. It's just, these are just some ideas and thoughts. And a lot of times our thoughts come from other people that have given it to us. And so being able to be aware of some of our thoughts that have a feeling attached to it, because when we have the feeling attached, then these behaviors start coming out. And so this is one that I do a lot, is that when I compulsively overindulge, like donuts is my thing, right? Like I love donuts. And it's like this thing of like, I need to get it right now because, it's that instant gratification of, there's not, I couldn't get it tomorrow, or, and so there's this scarcity kind of comes up with this kind of urgency and fear that it has to be done right now, or I have to hold on to this because I can't let it go, and that something bad's going to happen if I do. Okay, so there's also a scarcity language. And I was kind of talking a little bit about how I had my body image was definitely linked, with I'm not good enough. And so what I do a lot of times in coaching and in classes is that I teach people how to break apart. It's like there's these thoughts and then these feelings that get attached together. And what we want to do is pull them apart so that we can look at the emotion and release the emotion and look at the facts. And so it lessens the negativity around it when we can see clearly what the truth is from the lies. Because, it's not true that, I'm not good enough. It's not true that I'm not skinny enough. And even now, the paradigm of ballerinas is changing. It is, and being a dancer is changing, and what your body has to look like is changing. So I wanted to talk really quick. This next slide is, when you put the word abundance into Google, it comes up with it's a lot of something. So when you look at this picture, there's a lot there. Does that feel like abundance or scarcity? And you can put it in the comments if you want. So that's another mixed signal that people will say, right? Because they'll talk about how abundance means a lot of something. And that's not always true. And so the world's definition of abundance is a lot. And so I think even when we have a scarcity mindset of not being able to like clear out, let's say old makeup, like that's a perfect one, right? I look into the drawer and it's like, oh my, but I might want that color, even though I got it a year ago and I've never worn it. And when I look in the drawer and there's all this makeup, it makes me feel like I have enough. is anyone is anyone hearing me here? You know, because it's like, I want to gather stuff so it feels like I have enough, and I'll keep it and hold on to it, even though it's not even serving me, right? So here are the secrets. So we're going to go into the secrets, and the first one is, once a person breaks a paradigm, others can do it too. And so when I love this story right here, because I'm going to share a couple of stories here. Roger Bannister runs the first 4-minute mile in 1952. So a long time ago. This man was a doctor, and they said that it was physically impossible to run a 4-minute mile. And here Roger Bannister is like, I'm gonna do this, right? So now we know that tons of people have run 4-minute miles, but when people say, no, you can't, no, you can't, no, you can't, it does something up here to us, right? And look at him. This is him running over the finish line. Look at the way his neck is kind of cricked. His arms are flailing around. Like, there's a real science to running nowadays. I mean, they have it down to like, you have your hands close, so you're using the least amount of energy, right? And there's this whole stride, and you have your stomach in and your head focused forward. And he's just like, he just looks like, his form is not what they would call today good form, right? And he still did it. And so, and very quickly after this, as soon as he did it, all these other people started doing 4-minute miles, right? And even though I can't do a 4-minute mile, it has been done over and over and over. And so this is a story about how abundance, when we believe that things are possible and we break the paradigm, because, back then the paradigm was no one can run a 4-minute mile. But as soon as it's broken, it creates abundance for others. And this is such a great point for you guys and your business, because when we show our family that we can break the paradigm, it shows them it's possible. So many people are in need of hope right now. And so many people are looking for a paradigm shift. So here, that was the first guy that did a 4-minute mile. This guy, and it's Eliud Kipchoge. It's hard to say. Eliud Kipchoge. That's how you say it. Don't ask me to say it again. Okay, so this guy ended up running a marathon at a little bit over 4-minute miles, 26.2 miles at a little bit over 4-minute miles to make it under 2 hours. He ran a marathon in under 2 hours. And so this guy came up with these quotes, and now he's written a book, No Human is Limited. And he talks about that it does take action and it does take hard work. But what I wanted you guys to see is that when you believe in yourself, anything is possible. And he said he was doing this to show people anything that you believe is possible. And he did it. He did it. So this is about, he said he wanted to show the world that when you focus on your goal, work hard, and when you believe in yourself, anything is possible. And, he came from Kenya, a very, poverty-stricken area. And now, and he ran, and he was getting people's attention at a young age. He is a runner. I was thinking, so this is his little quote, no human is limited. And that's what our brain does. And that's what society does too. And that's what, unfortunately, our parents might have said it to us, our Sunday school teacher, our regular teachers, a coach Like my coach, my ballerina, my ballet director told me, you're limited. You don't have the body to dance, right? You don't have the body to be a professional. And here, no human is limited. And so I also think of Martha Stewart, because she was the first self-made female billionaire, and it happened overnight. Her company launched, and the next day, billionaire. So I thought that was a good one. And a lot of things that I do when I'm coaching entrepreneurs is money blocks. So we all have these thoughts that come from, or could come from, childhood around beliefs about money that end up sabotaging us, or pushing money and opportunity away because of these paradigms that we grew up with. And someone will say, you can't do that, or you're limited. Only people like Roseanne can do something like that. You know what I mean? And so it's like we want to break those paradigms, and it's really coming down to, you guys tell me in the comments, are you willing to question your perceptions? Because that's what it's coming down to. It's coming down to, yes, that we have these thoughts that we're grown up with. And today, as an adult, you get to choose whether you want to keep, believing those, So the second secret is to believe that there is more than enough for everyone. And you get to decide between scarcity and abundance. And you get to choose to have an abundant mindset just by adjusting your thinking. Like for me, it's the first part is like, okay, I'm going to believe that it's possible. And maybe you just have a mantra to help you. Like, I love that quote, that no human is limited. And what could I do if I really believe that? And this is what I love to do. I love to help people build pathways in your brain to become something different, to create something amazing with your life. And that's what you guys are doing by being in Mary Kay. You're creating a life. And I know that they teach that you're creating a different kind of life. Like maybe, you want to be able to work and make money and have the freedom to stay at home. And so you can see how like our thoughts make you feel different emotions. And so thoughts like, this is too hard, it'll never work, others have already done it, daydreaming, you're not willing to take a risk, looking at things half empty, tough times ahead, right? Gonna just move through this. Okay, so I love this little meme right here, because it's this guy who has like a so-so mood, right? He's like in a so-so mood, and then this problem jumps on his back. So anytime in business, you're gonna have things that come up that feel like, it's a form of resistance, right? It's life showing up, and it's causing some resistance towards your business moving forward, right? And so right here, it's showing this problem hops on your back, and you're like, I can't get any clients, or no one wants to be a part of this, and it's like automatically, as soon as it comes on your back, your mood drops, right? And then the next picture is like you're trying to get it off your back, and your mood's even lower, right? But as soon as you get it off your back, what do you feel? You're happy, you're satisfied, you made something happen, right? Like the thing is, and at the bottom, it's like his mood goes through the roof, and it's like, thanks, problem. And the problem's like, no problem, because it's like our brains are problem solvers. I mean, our brain wants to solve problems. And a lot of times we try to avoid problems because we're thinking, oh, you know, I don't want to, well, because sometimes our mood goes down, right? So we think, oh, I want to avoid that. You know, we want to avoid the problem because our mood goes down and we don't want our mood to go down. So we'll avoid it at all costs, right? But the thing is that that little meme shows that we actually feel better after we solve a problem. It actually builds confidence.
Are they both in the bathroom?
It brings us to be, you know, it's a way for us to be happy, you know? And I think of, you know, a way to look at different things, like just by questioning. So, you know, awareness is the first step to change. So when you notice, okay, it looks like I'm having this thought, and then to be able to acknowledge it is the first step. And then we get to make a choice. We get to believe that something else could be true. And so just by questioning what else could be true, this is a great tool when I'm coming up against a problem that in my perception is run away, hide, avoid, procrastinate, take a nap, spend money, whatever we do, right? To like avoid the next thing that we need to do that could probably solve the problem, because even solving the problem can take so much effort that we'll even avoid that. So is anyone getting it? Is anyone feeling the way I feel sometimes? So what we're doing here is we're looking at our lives, and we need a direction or else we feel lost. So if you've ever felt like nothing works, like you're trying all this stuff, right? You're going to webinars, you're reading self-help books, you're doing all the right stuff. Like, you're doing what you think God wants you to do, right? And so it feels like, why, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, why does it feel like it's not working? And so the thing is, when we decide to have a goal, so this little picture here is, you see the star represents a goal. So we all need goals because goals help give us a direction. So we need a goal. So you write your goal down, and then what we're doing here is it's looking at how when we choose a goal, it's on a different path, because the blue line represents the default. So if I'm just going along life and I use what the evidence from the past and my stories and emotions and words and scarcity mindset from the past, and here I am in the present, if I'm using whatever happens in the past, that's exactly what I'll get in the present, because that's my default. So when we finally choose, I want something different than I've already had in the past, that's when we set a goal and we start off on a new path. And that new path doesn't feel good. It's uncomfortable. And then before we get to the star, we go back. And these are the kind of things that I talk about, in my coaching, because all of us need help when we're in the middle of all that. It starts feeling messy, and then it's just so easy to just go back. And so the secret number 3 is that you have agency. You are agency. Choice is empowering. You get to choose how you see the world. And so when I think of that guy that solved the problem, right? he had a choice whether he was just gonna, hide from the problem, let the problem just keep him down, keep him being a victim. Like, now my mood's down and I don't feel like doing it. So, or he decided to solve the problem. So just even making a choice gives us a feeling of power, a feeling of, I can do this because I chose it. So getting back to abundance, choice is flow. Creating the flow in our lives allows us to grow. And then that's kind of the mindset that we want to keep, because we want to keep moving and growing. Like, I think sometimes, you guys tell me some things that that keep you stuck or keep you from really enjoying your life or seeing abundance around you. So it's like, what keeps us stuck? You guys tell me in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. What keeps you guys stuck? Oh, yes. Okay, so you saw my picture of the clutter. Clutter definitely keeps us stuck. And I have a whole webinar on clutter is scarcity, and how to move around that so that it's not weighing us down. I love these. Yeah, the fear of the unknown. That's fear. Absolutely can take us. And when you think of fear is what keeps us stuck and the same, and kind of just surviving off what we've done in the past. So it kind of goes to that default, right? And so I just appreciate recognizing that I have to move and do something to get unstuck. And here we are. I think I went back. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to skip this one. This is my little mantra that I've used on myself the last couple months, is this is what different feels like. Because a lot of times, if you guys get pumped up today and you guys are like excited to get your business going and get referrals and talk to people, and and maybe it's not even about your business. Like, these principles apply to our relationships, to our health, right? So it's looking at things with a new pair of glasses and be open and willing to believe that you could have something different and that you can do differently. And so I'd love for you guys to write on your paper, what can I do differently today? And just do something different. Like, even like, driving to the supermarket a different way. Because what happens is when we do something different, it engages our brain. And our brain is like, whoa, why are you going this way? It gets the brain's attention, and the brain is paying attention. And so this helps us build new ways of looking at things. And the other thing is that, your brain, it wants to stay the same. So even when you're going a different way to the grocery store, it's like, it's a little uncomfortable because it's easier to just be on automatic. But do you see how automatic doesn't really get you to the goal? You know what I mean? Because there's something that has to be, there's more to it than just, putting a goal on paper. Because when we have to practice doing stuff different, so we know what it feels like to be uncomfortable. And we're kind of like, we're stretching ourselves to be a little bit more, to be uncomfortable, and that it is okay to be a little uncomfortable, because that's where we grow, right? So I love the things when they're talking about like 1% changes, right? So it's like these 1% changes, like what's 1% change that you could do something different? Because you don't want to just like shock your system into doing something, because my experience with that is that I sabotage, or it's not sustainable. So then I just go back to the way it was, right? And so it's like kind of this is a practice, it's a skill, which the beautiful thing about a skill is that you learn about it, you practice it, and you keep practicing, and you can actually master it. Just like, I think of like an Olympian athlete. They have learned how to master their skill because of practice. When you research what an Olympian has to do to practice, it's like they practice so much, it's like, it makes me tired even thinking about how much practice. But that is an example of mastering something and how much practice it takes. So even if I just make a commitment today to like, I'm going to practice just doing something different and noticing how it feels, just a little uncomfortable, just practicing the skill of it being okay to be uncomfortable, being okay to not know, right? Because what's your scarcity costing you? Is it your relationships? Is it money? Is it health? Is it your sanity? Because that's what ends up happening. We look around and our mindset is telling us what to look for. So when I think there's not enough, my brain automatically is looking for evidence and proof to back it up. So this is what we do in Break Free Coaching. It's a 14-week program where we meet and we talk about directing our thoughts. We talk about making goals, making big audacious goals and breaking them down into steps that are doable, that are sustainable. We do a live group meeting like this, and we share with each other. We ask questions. We relate to what we're working on, and we're able to actually use each other's mistakes as lessons, because there are no new problems. And so it's so interesting how one person's problem will help like 6 other people. And, we do homework so that we have this like accountability of, okay, this is what I'm working on this week. And each of the sessions are recorded so that you can, you're able to watch them later if you miss them, or you can watch them again to get information and kind of let it sink in. Because sometimes it's like information is just coming at us. And, when I think of like these modules, these pre-recorded modules, like one of them is talking about how to raise my self-esteem, how to raise my self-worth. And it goes through, the way the brain reacts to self-care and self-love, and how to actually train our brain to feel better about ourselves. So I have a client who is always has anxiety and has even been diagnosed with some mental disorders, and she doesn't want to take medication. And she just told me recently, like, you show me how easy it is just to practice trusting myself. And she said, I thought it was going to be so much harder. And, I have a client that talks about depression, and she is, she wanted help with, how can I just be happier, and so a lot of times it can be about money, it can be about our business, I always find that it has a lot to do with the way we look at life, our perception of life, our perception of ourselves, our identity. And so this is a huge way to upgrade your life skills, your relationships, your self-confidence, self-kindness. Like, how do we really forgive ourselves and have more understanding? And really, it's not about just surviving, right? So if any of this is resonating with you, I would love to talk to you. I would love to teach you what I know. And I wanted to just, especially for this group in particular, that today I would give, anyone who books a call with me, all you have to do is go to calendly.com/Melanie Yates and pick a time that you could meet with me. And I'll just tell you more about this break free coaching and how it could help you in your life. Anyone who makes a call, it's totally free. You're going to just talk to me. We're just going to talk about what's going on in your life, how it could benefit you. I will send you a free copy of my book, Happy, Joyous, and Free, Love Your Life No Matter What, just by booking the call. If you just book the call, you get a free book. And then the other thing I wanted to give to you guys, just you guys, because I just adore Roseanne, is a one-on-one. The first 4 people that make an appointment will get a free one-on-one mentoring session with me. So these, when I think about habits, it's always about, we get so into a routine, it's hard to stop. So information alone doesn't get us to the next level. So we're constantly looking at how we can train our brain to look at things differently, to get something different, do something different, to get something different. And so we always have choices. There is always a choice. I don't care what it is. You always have a choice. God gave us agency for a reason. And so we get to, just by seeing the choices, just by being aware that there's a choice between scarcity and abundance, enough or not enough, you are being empowered just by seeing that. And it's not right or wrong either. I want to make sure that I tell you guys, it's not good or bad. Our brain has been programmed to put things in categories. And if all things work together for good, then it doesn't have to be categorized into this is good, this is bad. We're using all things as information. So even if I choose to be in a scarcity mindset, like even if I chose this morning to hoard my sleep and to hoard that time that I wanted all to myself in my bed, it's okay, And I think what got me out of bed is I just kept thinking about the choice between what it would feel like if I got out of bed and what it would feel like if I stayed in bed. And I was thinking, if I get out of bed and do the things that I like to do in the next hour, I will feel so much refreshed. I'll feel more refreshed and more alert and more clarity for taking my my son to school. And so I thought, otherwise I'll probably be just waking up, kind of still getting things going while I'm taking him to school. And I was thinking, it's better for me to have more energy and clarity and engage with him on the way to school, because he's a teenager now and there's not a lot of time left for me to, connect with him, right? And so that's what got me out of bed. But it wouldn't have been wrong, and I wouldn't have beat myself up if I wanted to stay in bed for another hour, because it's information, right? Because I had done that before. I knew what it felt like to stay in bed, And sometimes that's what we got to do. That's what we want to do. And it gives us information. So these are the kind of things that we talk about in the break free coaching. We're using applicable tools that we can use in everyday life to train our mindset so that actually helps the action step, right? Because it's like, and things are up and down. Like there's a lot of changes in my life right now. And I've been working on this, working on this thing called life, and how can I be happy, happy, joyous, and free. That's the title of my book, because it's like, how do I manage? And I have these emotions that come up, because for me, I have these feelings that like seem like they take over. They like literally feel like they take over me. And it feels like, sometimes it feels like I'm going to die from a feeling, and I've learned that there's ways I can manage my feelings so they don't pile up on each other to the point where it feels that overwhelming. Like I literally feel buried by my emotions. And what I've found is that people that are hard workers, they don't always get the results they're looking for because they don't manage the mindset piece, because our thoughts create emotions, and then those emotions create behavior. And so for me, it's this constant treatment. I need a daily treatment of my thoughts. And the thing is, it gets easier, right? You get this skill set of looking at things through a different lens, and it starts becoming more automatic. And then a big change can happen in your life, and you have to go back to the basics. Like for me, I'm transitioning. I've worked at the hospital for 20 years. I've worked at the hospital, and I'm coming home to do my business full time. And it's super exciting. And at the same time, I feel like I'm going back to the basics of these tools, and really challenged with things are so different. And I've been struggling off and on with these emotions that come up of doubt, like you're not good enough. Again, the you're not good enough thing. And it's like, what am I going to do to get out of this? What am I going to do to manage the emotions that tempt me? It's like a temptation. When you have a negative thought, it's like a temptation to go down a rabbit hole, of the rabbit hole of fear, and it's like, I need tools. I need a decision in the morning to be ready with my mantra of, this is what different feels like. So I'm on a different path. I have a big goal. It is so different than what I've done in the past that it is uncomfortable. And it is the unknown, and it gets messy. And it's like, it's so much like, well, maybe I should just go back to the job I already know how to do, the job that I'm good at, the job that have a secure paycheck, that I know exactly how much I'm getting, that I have, it's like, it's so easy to want to slide back down to my default because it's uncomfortable, right? And so I'm not gonna lie, you have to do something to get something. I am in the thick of it right now. And I think it's funny that God is having me teach something like the mindset of scarcity when I have recognized and acknowledged I've been in scarcity. But it is so worth it to manage our thoughts. And it is so worth it to have that problem or that struggle or that challenge on your back, you know, pushing you down, and then finally figuring a way to get it off your back. It's just, it's like nothing that anyone can give you. It's a gift you get to give yourself, you know? And I believe it's a birthright. I really believe God wants us. Okay. So you guys are so awesome. You guys have stayed with me till the end and listened to me. And I wanted to give you my little secret. And this is what I do when I'm feeling down, when I have a feeling that is overtaking me. Body language can change the chemistry in our brain. They have done study, research. Amy Cuddy is one of my favorites. She's written a book about body language. You can even look up on YouTube Amy Cuddy, and she goes and she talks about this power pose. So she says that when you get big and you have a power pose, you feel bigger. You have more confidence. And it's interesting because as women, we have been taught to be small, to cross our legs. And the interesting thing is that body language tells us to be small. Isn't that interesting? Because as a lady, you know, we put our hands in our lap, we fold our, you know, might do something like this, we cross our legs, and it's like we're told to be dainty and small. And that actually sends a signal to our brain that you are. And so I love teaching people get big. And, you know, sometimes it's not appropriate to, you know, put your hands in the air or put your hands on, you know, she calls it the Wonder Woman pose because you put your hands on your hips. But there's times that we're alone, like in the bathroom, right? Mel Robbins is another one that just came out with a book called The High Five Habit. And so it's high five. Our brain knows that body language. It's a celebration. It's like, oh yeah, give me a high five. Like something wonderful is happening, right? So her book is about giving yourself a high five in the mirror. It's body language. And our brain eats it up. It's even faster than words of affirmation. Body language will get you to your result faster than just a word of affirmation. Now, I like the words of affirmation with the body language. But let's just say, you know, you're crying, you're in doubt, you're depressed, you hate yourself for whatever reason, right? Just smiling releases chemicals in your brain for happy. So that's the trick. So here I am. I look in the bathroom mirror at the gym in my swimsuit, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't have ate that sandwich. You shouldn't have ate ice cream yesterday. And I just start playing this thing of like, you better figure it out, man. You're gonna be fat and ugly before you know it. And I'm just sitting there, you know, having this conversation with myself in the mirror. And this is like in a blink of an eye. I'm walking by the mirror and I'm just like shaking my head, right? And all this horrible stuff's going on in my head. And I remembered I was able to be aware, which is the first step. Hey, you're talking smack. And I went back to the mirror and I stood in front of the mirror and I used my body language. I put my hands on my hip and then I put my palms out, because this is a way, this is like a surrender pose. When you open yourself, it is opening and it tells your brain, I surrender, it's okay. And I opened my chest and my arms and I looked myself in the mirror and I said, I love those dimples on your thighs. I am so grateful for the body that God gave you. Thank you for eating the food that you eat because it looks healthy. And there's just this dialogue, and I wish I could go into it more with you, but what happened is, because of these words that I have trained myself to use on a regular basis, and the body language that my brain understands, in that moment, I was able to turn around self-hatred, self-defeating, doubting, victim mentality, scarcity mentality. And the thing is, in the beginning, you might not believe it, right? And the brain has to start somewhere. The brain has to start somewhere. And I have this funny little quote that my friend told me. She's like, well, at least wrinkles and cellulite don't hurt. So if that's the only, if I can't think of anything that I'm grateful for, I'll at least say wrinkles and cellulite don't hurt. So this is what we have to do. We have to look for another way to see ourselves, another way to identify, another way to choose to identify. And so that's my power pose. And this is just to remind you to book a call with me, calendly.com/Melanie Yates. And this is just what I love to do. I absolutely love teaching what I've learned. I'm a pretty vulnerable person. I like being able to share my own stories of insecurity to relate with other people, and then share my stories of joy and peace. And the funny thing is that, you know, perfectionism is thinking that the end result would be, you know, the end result would be to be perfect. And the thing is, you know, perfection is a direction. It doesn't have to be the destination. So perfection is a direction. It gives us a direction to move. But when you think about, even if it was possible for us to be perfect, then what? Here we are perfect, then what? We stop. We're stuck. We're in scarcity because we're not moving anymore. Once you become perfect, then there's nothing to do. And, you know, in my belief system, my higher power, my God, he wants us to grow. I believe that's why we're here, is to continue to grow. And so, you know, I used to tell myself, like, I want other people to think I'm perfect, and I really want to be perfect. But the thing is, that's so far from what God wants for us. He gives us the direction, you know, he gives us goals that we can never accomplish here on this earth. So he gives us the direction, but it's not the destination. This is the destination. This is it. This is the journey. This is learning how to do one day at a time, one moment at a time, sometimes one emotion at a time, deal with one emotion at a time. So you guys tell me in the comments, tell me your action step you're gonna do today. Tell me the one thing that you're gonna do different just for today. And it, you know, it could be making an appointment to book a call with me. It could be, you know what I was gonna do, if you guys want, I could send this recording out, and anyone that you think would benefit, you could send them the recording. Because you guys are called out. We're called to help other people. There is a lot of hope that is needed out there. there's a lot of scarcity mindset that is out there is keeping people miserable. And so if there's anything that you learned today that you could share with someone else to help them have a better day, to give them a tool or a way of looking and shifting their paradigm so that they know there's hope. There is hope. We get to believe and choose to have a belief around something and change. I think my grandma, I get to go visit my grandma. She's 93 years old, and I get to visit her in 2 weeks. And her mom was an orphan, and she ran away because she was at this home that she was basically kind of treated like Cinderella. There was a bunch of boys in the family. There wasn't any daughters, and so they adopted her, and she was the one that did all the housework. And it was bad enough that she ran away. She had no idea where she was going to go. This is in Virginia, by the way, Richmond, Virginia. I live in California, so I'm like, man, it must have been cold, like when did she run away? Was it in the winter? Like all these questions come up in my mind. And when my granny tells the story, she says, she married this man to survive. So she married this man that was 20 years older than her, because that's how she could have a home, and they were extremely poor. My grandma always talks about being really poor growing up, and eating the same thing that her mom would make. And the thing is, my grandma, she has worked hard her whole life, because she has felt like some of these scarcity mindsets that were passed down to her have had an effect. And some of them are good, and some of them aren't, because there's still this mentality of, I have to hoard everything, I have to keep everything. And also, like she lived through the Depression, right? And so it's like this thing of, do not spend any money and keep everything and take excellent care of everything. One of the things she taught me was taking care of things. That's actually a really good thing that's something that I want to be better at, is really taking care of the things I do have. But the scarcity mentality is holding on to it because you never think anything else will come. And what I've learned is that we have to make room for abundance. So when we're holding on to things, we don't make room for abundance to come in, because there is none. When I think of that picture of the garage, and there's just so much in there, how can I have something else? How can I invite something else in if there's no room? And so that goes for our own closets, holding on to things that we don't wear, our makeup, holding on to makeup that we don't use. It doesn't invite for more great colors to come in, And the same with money. It's like, if we don't invest in ourselves and spend money and use money, we're not inviting any more money to come back to us. And so that's been my experience, is this flow. Like, we want money to have a flow to it, not a stuckness to it. We want there, just like energy, there's an ebb and flow, there's a give and take. And when I was getting married, I'd been divorced for 7 years, and so I was used to having all the closet space to myself, right? And I remember thinking, if I want to get married and I want to invite someone to move in here, I better make some room. And so I cleared out half my closet. Hadn't met a guy yet, right? But I cleared out half my closet because it's like I need to make room for the good to come in. And it goes the same for our brain. We need to make room in our brain. We need to ditch the things that aren't serving us. We have to recognize and acknowledge, okay, that's a thought, it doesn't serve me. How am I gonna let it go? And make room for another thought, another belief, another action. And that's what we do in break free coaching is we do, we get together and we have a class like this and we talk about constantly, I'm finding new information of how we can rewire our brain, reprogram our thoughts into something different. And so I would love to talk to you guys about what's going on in your life, how this class could help you. And if you're interested, if you're curious and anything that we've talked about today, please book a call. I'd love to talk to you. And if you do, I'll give you, you'll get the free book no matter what. And then the first 4 will get an additional one-on-one mentoring, 1-hour appointment with me. So it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. And I have like a couple of minutes if someone has a question.
I have a comment. I've really loved that you've helped us to have awareness and creating boundaries, like healthy boundaries with ourselves, because when we can do that, like your book shared, we can have healthy boundaries with other people. So that's where it starts, is creating those healthy boundaries with ourselves. So thank you, Melanie. I have many quotes that I wrote down that you had on your slides, and I'm excited to put them in my bathroom so I can be reminded of them each day.
Awesome. Thank you. Really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, is there anyone else that has a question or wants to affirm Melanie?
I'll just say thank you so much. I'm so excited to keep learning and read that book. I'm really excited. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this.
Absolutely. You bet.
Thank you, Melanie. It was so nice. It's so nice of you to take time out to spend time with our groups. We've been so blessed this last hour. And I want to encourage everyone to, I mean, what would it hurt to book your free one-on-one if you're one of the 4? And, you know, you're going to get a free book. You know, what would it hurt if you really feel that you need some specialized coaching in this area? This is, I mean, you know, Roseanne and I can coach in business, and we could probably coach in scarcity, but it's not our, you know, like our specialization. So if it's something you really feel you want to dive deep into, what would it hurt to take a look at it? So thanks so much, Melanie, for.
Absolutely. And when you book a call, I mean, it just comes, you end up, I mean, if it's okay with you, I end up mentoring because that's just what I do. So yeah, so it really is, it's a win-win. And like I said, this is something I'm so passionate about doing. And I love meeting with women, and I love Mary Kay. I love makeup. I took a couple extra minutes to put my favorite colors on for you guys.
You look gorgeous.
So, anyway,
yep. You're beautiful.
So I do look forward to talking with you guys, and yeah, I'll talk to you soon, Roseanne.
Thank you so much, Melanie, and thank you everyone for being on, and we're excited about this and all that you've learned. So make it a great day.
Okay, bye.
Bye.